tonight. After a long investigation, Regina's chief of police is relieved of his duties. The province denies a motion for an inquiry into how wildfires were managed. And Halloween this year is giving people a financial fright.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. After almost an 8-month-long investigation by the Public Complaints Commission, Regina Police Chief Farouk Sheikh has been terminated from his position by the Board of Police Commissioners.
The board has made the decision to terminate Chief Sheikh's employment contract with cause. The board feels strongly that a change in leadership is necessary to ensure continued public trust and confidence in the Regina Police Service.
Sheikh was placed on leave in early April while the PCC investigated the complaint by a member of the public who was also a board member of the commission. With more on this situation, we go to Donovan Mays, who is live in front of Regina Police headquarters tonight. Donovan.
Yeah, Lee. Well, as the mayor put it today, this was a long, an extensive, and a complex investigation. And Bashinsky, quite understanding of the public wanting to know exactly what happened with the now former police chief Farouk Sheikh and those complaints against him. Now, according to a report done by the Public Complaints Commission, there were 2 areas of discipline it was looking into. The first, based on 2 separate allegations. The first, with the complaint alleging Sheikh used his position as chief to influence the member to vote in favor of amendments to his employment contract, which the investigation found to be unsubstantiated, and that Sheikh used his influence to remove the complainant from the police board, which the PCC found no evidence of. Now, in the case of the second offense, the investigation says it did find evidence of discreditable conduct, adding the series of communications between the chief and the complainant seriously offended the RPS's core values of integrity, transparency, and accountability.
The PCC was satisfied that the investigation evidence showed the police chief acted in a manner that is unbecoming of a chief of police and in a way that is dishonorable to the Regina Police Service. The investigation evidence showed that Chief Sheikh engaged in inappropriate private communications with the complainant over several months that demonstrated a significant and continuing lapse in professional judgment and conduct inconsistent with Regina Police Service core values.
Now, in response to the report, the complainant issuing a statement through their lawyer saying the PCC's finding of discreditable conduct is an acknowledgement of harm done, not only to them personally, but to integrity of police governance itself, going on to say they hope to have open and honest communication with the Regina Board of Police Commissioners about the breach of privacy and an alleged lack of due process in asking for their resignation from the board. Now, going back to Chief Sheikh, the mayor says that because this dismissal was with cause, Sheikh will not be paid a severance, and Acting Chief Laura Lee Davies will continue to serve in that role until further notice. Lee.
All right, thank you, Donovan. Donovan Mays reporting live for us tonight in front of Regina Police Headquarters. Big news for sure. Well, more news. Kamsack RCMP have charged a teenage boy with assault after an incident in the early morning hours on the Kisakus First Nation. Now, upon arrival, officers found a woman with serious injuries from an assault. She was taken to hospital by EMS. Police determined a male youth was behind the assault and arrested him. The teenager, who cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, is facing 3 charges, including attempted murder and aggravated assault. He'll make his first appearance in Yorkton Provincial Court Thursday, October the 30th. Jury members in the murder trial of a man accused of killing Misha Pavlik in 2006 are one step closer to finding out why police felt it had enough evidence to lay a charge after an almost 20-year investigation. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the details of who testified in court today, including Pavlik's former girlfriend at the time.
A group of individuals who were driving around Regina Beach the same night Misha Pavlik died at a campground in the area testified here at Court of King's Bench during the second-degree murder trial of a man accused of killing him. Pavlik died at a high school graduation party in May of 2006 near Last Mountain Lake. One witness, who cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, as she was 18 years old at the time, telling court she came forward with new information after hearing a police podcast about the case that was released in 2021. Testifying, she was traveling with a group of people who parked at Regina Beach the night of the incident and was later approached by a few people, including the accused. Saying, quote, "We were parked in the van. The accused came up to the driver's side. He was really excited about just stabbing someone." Another witness, Daniel Price, telling court he saw one person showing blood on their body. However, it was not the accused. Court also hearing from Pavlik's former girlfriend at the time, who also can't be identified, saying she only became aware Pavlik was at the party upon arriving, adding she was accompanied by a group of friends, including Andrew Perkins, her boyfriend at the time, who Pavlik said always made comments about wanting to fight. Telling the jury she was physically in between Pavlik and Perkins when Pavlik allegedly hit Perkins with a bottle, leading to all three of them being on the ground. Eventually, that fight stopped, the witness saying she walked away. Shortly after, when she saw Pavlik again, he was on the ground surrounded by a group of boys kicking him. Telling the court, "At that point, I don't think we knew Misha was stabbed. I knew he was hurt." Adding, she held his hand, called his father, and then called the ambulance. Through cross-examination, the ex-girlfriend admitted Perkins didn't tell police the truth in his original statement as he was afraid of one of the guys involved in the altercation. The trial will continue on Wednesday. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
A forensic toxicologist has taken a stand in a Saskatoon murder trial. Angela Filbert analyzed Nakira Brown's body. She testified that Brown had meth and cocaine in her system at the time of her death. Brown was found shot dead on November 15th, 2022 inside the home she shared with her boyfriend, Andrew Rosenfeld. He's been charged with second-degree murder. Court heard Brown died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Rosenfeld originally told officers that two men wearing masks broke in, shot Brown, and ran off. There will be no public inquiry into how the Saskatchewan government handled this year's devastating wildfire season. Thousands of people were forced to evacuate as more than 500 fires swept through the north. Today, the legislature voted down an NDP motion for a public inquiry, opting instead for an internal review. Wayne Mantika has more.
A group of Denair Beach residents spent 2 days at the Legislative Building looking for answers into how a wildfire got out of hand this past summer and destroyed their community.
We came here yesterday and we all had a meeting with Scott Moe, and I thought it actually went pretty good, considering he stopped everything after and he apologized.
Now the government has voted down an NDP motion for a public inquiry into how forest fires were handled.
Was leave granted? Leave has not been granted.
It's not what Denair Beach residents were expecting.
If they really did everything they could to help us in the north, why wouldn't you want a public inquiry? Why wouldn't you want to prove us wrong?
The government has pledged to help with rebuilding the community. The NDP opposition wanted accountability.
The Premier says one thing and does another, says that he wants to be accountable, and then blocks a public inquiry to give the people the answers that they deserve. It's unacceptable.
In place of a public inquiry, the provincial government has hired a private consulting firm to conduct a review of its forest fire response and recovery effort. The government says it wants to learn and take meaningful action. The findings are expected to be made public before the next forest fire season. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A shortage of occupational therapists at Royal University Hospital in Saskatoon is causing disruptions. A leaked Saskatchewan Health Authority memo provided by the NDP says to cover the staffing shortages, occupational therapists will focus on priority servings, include oncology, orthopedics, and trauma, while other departments will see a temporary pause in services, including the emergency department and general surgery, unless there is capacity. The SHA confirms occupational therapy services at Royal University Hospital have been adjusted due to staffing shortages. It says there'll be a focus on areas that have the largest impact on patient outcomes and the health system. The NDP says these services are time sensitive and calls the situation unacceptable.
So delaying treatment or occupational therapy could be the difference between somebody learning to walk again and somebody not learning to walk again.
Obviously, when you have vacancies, that puts pressure on our healthcare teams. It is the focus of this government, it's the focus of the Saskatchewan Health Authority to get those vacancies filled as soon as possible.
The health minister says starting next fall, a new program at the University of Saskatchewan will train occupational therapists in the province, which he says will help recruit and retaining efforts. The union representing occupational therapists in Saskatchewan says it's working with the province to address staffing challenges at RUH. A fire at the Meadow Pulp mill has kept crews busy over the last 24 hours. The fire began around 8:30 yesterday morning at one of the log piles on site. No injuries reported, but fire crews do remain on scene overnight and monitoring the situation. Significant damage to the wood on site was reported, but the mill itself was not damaged.
We've had aerial water support provided as well to contain this fire, and so we're just extremely grateful to all the fire crews and emergency personnel that have responded so well and worked throughout the night and have managed to deal with this in a very positive way.
Crews still on the ground managing the fire even this afternoon. We are now 3 days away from Halloween. Sabine, how are things shaping up for our trick-or-treaters?
Well, you know, as children, when we wore layers under our costumes.
It's not going to be minus 30, so I mean...
Well, not minus 30. As of right now, the start of your evening around 6 o'clock, it's looking like it'll be about +2, feeling like 1 degree. So we know it's a Friday and you want to stay out later trick-or-treating. So if that is the case, maybe wear a layer or two under your costumes, because expect it to start feeling like it is below 0 later in the evening. In terms of today, we saw around average day. We didn't quite get into that average range, but we were off by about 1 degree. Nonetheless, we didn't have much in terms of active weather throughout the province. Saw a little bit of cloud cover, though that will change as we head into tomorrow. Depending on where you are in the province, expect a mixed bag of precipitation. Rain, freezing rain, snow expected across the province, and I will let you know what you can expect in southern Saskatchewan in particular coming up in your forecast. Taking a look at our current temperatures, still sitting in around the seasonal range, actually warmer for some parts, but like I said, I'll have all the details coming up in your forecast. Lee?
Neat. With Halloween just 3 days away, people are scrambling to pick up a costume and plenty of treats for all those ghouls and goblins that'll visit your door. But perhaps the most frightening is the bill to pay for all of these things. Keenan Sorkon has more.
I was just wondering, spooky season started a little early this year for Halloween shoppers looking to stock up before Friday.
The treats are smaller. Everything there's fewer in a bag and they're more expensive.
Dalhousie University's annual Halloween treat cost report says Canadian households are spending 10 to 20% more on Halloween candy this year. And there's a few forces coming to a head that's driving that price increase. West Africa, which supplies most of the world's cocoa, was hit with heavy rains in 2023 and drought in 2024, dwindling the supply. Add that on top of increased demand because of Halloween falling on a Friday, and it further increases the price.
The combination now of some global cocoa production that's been reduced, along with demand that's going up, is creating a real price crunch right now.
Companies counteract this by offering less for similar prices.
Shrinkflation is weaving a thread through all of these conversations now, and you've got a situation in which, because of smaller quantities, people seem like they're getting less bang for their buck.
But with Halloween just days away, shoppers are finding a way to justify the price out of fear of not having any candy when the trick-or-treaters come knocking.
It's a little expensive, but I mean, it's once a year.
Candy is candy.
Yeah,
so
you gotta have it.
I'm going to buy it.
Willoughby wonders, with shrinkflation here to stay and chocolate prices unlikely to decrease even in good crop years, if more people will look to other candy instead of offering less.
This is the new reality. I think you're going to be seeing people look for alternative ways, for alternative treats to provide that may not be such a claim on the pocketbook.
Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The annual See Your Future Education and Career Fair was held Tuesday at the Queensbury Convention Centre. The fair, in its 28th year, features more than 100 exhibitors. Students in grade 11 and 12 can hear from universities, colleges, employers from all across Canada about future educational and job opportunities. The director of the fair says it's a good chance for students to meet with different organizations face-to-face.
Well, I would say that, this is a great opportunity for businesses because this is a pipeline. Our growth market here in Saskatchewan is we need labor. And for businesses to invest in coming here and saying to the students, this is what your job could look like 4 years from now when you graduate from whatever program you're in.
Kowalczyk also stressed the importance of not putting pressure on the students to find a so-called perfect job after finishing their schooling.
Are you from Regina?
More than 60 grade 11 and 12 students from Regina surrounding area participated in a half-day interactive workshop today. The interactive workshop was designed to sharpen their entrepreneurial skills and provide valuable insights into strategy, business planning, and marketing. There were several mentors on hand for the students to pitch their business plans to and hear advice from.
One is like follow your passion. If you enjoy your craft or whatever your service or product is that you're building, chase it. And then the other one was a little more strategic, like, well, let's identify your target demographic and your main selling features and what makes you different from the competition. And if you don't know the answer to that, let's figure it out. So we were really pushing them to take it to that next level.
After the workshop wrapped, groups were awarded for Best Business Plan and Best Marketing Plan.
Greetings, everyone. The curriculum at the First Nations University of Canada includes various aspects of land-based learning, including a culture camp for their social work program. Now that the university has a new campus dedicated to students and staff making connections to the land, CTV's Jasmine Pelche tells us more.
First Nations University of Canada held an event Wednesday to celebrate its updated New Ascan traditional campus.
Of course, there's teaching involved, there's storytelling, but there's also that holistic support that occurs here.
The land-based education campus is located on a 22-acre property north of the South Saskatchewan River near St. Louis.
This land provides students opportunities to learn from the environment, to disconnect from the cities, to engage in meaningful ways with each other, to listen to the coyotes at night, to see the brilliance of the stars.
Before it was a university campus, the land was stewarded by Elder Shelley Bellhumer, who first took possession in 1998.
I don't ever say I own it because we don't own land. We care for it. We live on it. It belongs to Mother Earth.
The renewal includes renovations to the mess hall and kitchen, new overnight cabins, new showers and washrooms, water infrastructure upgrades, a permanent sweat lodge structure, and outdoor learning area.
This is a sacred area. I've heard a couple of people say that it was a sacred area. It is. It's been wonderful. I love to see. The good thing about now a university having this is my dream has come true, and I don't have to pay for it.
The renewal was funded through the federal and provincial governments for $2.4 million. The First Nations University contributed $1 million. The traditional campus has been active since 2021 and will continue to serve as a permanent land-based learning environment for university members, students, and elders. The land-based learning environment is the newest of the FNUC's 4 campuses. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, St. Louis.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
The Prime Minister looks to secure trade relationships in Asia with U.S. relations on shaky ground. And Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm, is hammering the island of Jamaica. The Prime Minister is in Singapore, where he is meeting with the country's political and business leaders. Later this week, he'll have a face-to-face with China's president. The goal remains the same, to drum up investment for Canada with new partners as Mark Carney's relationship with Donald Trump teeters on shaky ground. Judy Trin has the latest.
40% of global trade coming through here.
as he surveys Singapore's massive state-of-the-art port with its CEO, the Prime Minister is reaching into his Rolodex to find new partners to invest in Canada's major projects.
Our Prime Minister is very well connected globally to not just political leaders, but to corporate leaders, leaders of significant investment firms, sovereign wealth funds.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is being courted. Sana Takaichi, Japan's first female leader, gave Trump a golf club owned by her predecessor, the late Shinzo Abe, and promised to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Then they signed an agreement to cooperate on critical minerals.
But tonight I'm more confident than ever that the friendship between the United States and Japan is strong as it can be.
After missing each other in Malaysia, Carney and Trump will both be in South Korea for the Asia-Pacific Economic Summit. At APEC, both have bilateral meetings set up with China's Xi Jinping. When asked if Canada would break with the U.S. and drop tariffs on Chinese EVs, Carney said it's too soon to decide.
There's no preset offer issue. This is the difference between relationship and transaction.
The Prime Minister will spend less than 24 hours in Singapore before traveling to South Korea for another economic summit. Tensions are expected. Since Trump broke off trade negotiations, he said that he will not meet with Carney at APEC. Judy Trin, CTV News, Singapore.
Canada Post has announced it is laying off dozens of its managers in an apparent bid to restructure the company. In a memo sent to employees early this morning, the company says it was moving ahead with the layoffs as part of corporate-wide restructuring efforts to align with the future needs of the organization. The exact number of employees to be laid off is unknown. All of this is happening as Canada Post is set to return to the bargaining table with the union representing thousands of postal workers who are currently on a rotating national strike. Students in Alberta will be back in class tomorrow. The Alberta government has introduced back-to-work legislation for striking teachers in the province by invoking the notwithstanding clause.
Today marks a dark day for Alberta, for teachers, for students, and for every Albertan who believes in equity, freedom, and democracy. Yesterday, the government of Alberta invoked the notwithstanding clause, an egregious and unnecessary measure to force teachers and school leaders back to work and strip them of their charter rights. For our members, this moment has been devastating. I've spoken with several teachers who are in tears of disbelief that their own government would take away their most fundamental freedoms rather than negotiate in good faith.
Alberta Teachers Association President Jason Schilling went on to say teachers are being forced back and saddled with a very collective agreement that 90% of them rejected a month ago. The legislation ends the province-wide teachers' strike and legislates a collective agreement that runs through August of 2028. Teachers will receive a 12% wage increase over 4 years, and the province will add 3,000 new teachers, 1,500 educational assistants. The bill also includes fines of up to $500 per day for teachers who defy the back-to-work order. In the Middle East, the Israeli military launched a barrage of attacks in the Gaza Strip 2 weeks into a fragile ceasefire. Health officials in the territory say at least 2 Palestinians were killed. The order from Israel's prime minister was issued after an Israeli official said its forces were fired upon in southern Gaza, and after Hamas was accused of returning the wrong remains in the process of returning hostages. Hamas denied involvement in the gunfire in Rafah. Jamaica is on high alert and preparing for the worst as a monstrous Category 4 hurricane is unleashing its full fury on the island nation. CTV's Scott Hurst has the latest.
It is a storm likely being watched very closely by a whole lot of Canadians who are either from there originally, still have lots of family and friends there, or like to vacation in Jamaica. But right now, there is significant concern about widespread devastation.
This is what's going to be a generational storm for Jamaica and potentially even eastern parts of Cuba.
The island nation is bracing for catastrophic damage, the worst storm in Jamaica's recorded history to officially make landfall. Residents and tourists alike are being told to brace for impact. It is an extremely dangerous storm and a potentially life-threatening situation. We spoke to a Canadian in Jamaica now hunkering down at a resort, but getting home might take some patience.
We have a plan A to go on Wednesday with our original flight out, but we do have a plan B
to leave on Saturday. The airport's closed until Tuesday.
After pummeling Jamaica, Melissa will take aim at Cuba, still as a powerful hurricane. Other islands in the Caribbean are also being impacted, including Haiti, the Dominican Republic, as well as parts of Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Even before landfall, Hurricane Melissa is being blamed for 7 deaths in the region, including 3 in Jamaica during storm preparations. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up, a look at some of the spooky spots that could entice trick-or-treaters this Halloween.
Watch MasterChef Canada tonight right here on CTV. Then join us tomorrow on Your Morning when we talk to the latest eliminated chef about their experience.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at what your forecast is looking like as we head into this evening and the rest of this week. And I know many are wanting to know what they need to know for Halloween night as that is quickly approaching as well. So yes, today was a little cooler than what we have been used to. And that's basically just, I mean, we're ending October. So it's about time that we're going to start to see those temperatures get back into that seasonal range. We did warm up to very close to 7 degrees late this afternoon, currently sitting at 2 with the winds just over 10 kilometers an hour. Now, earlier today, those winds were gusting up to about 50 late this afternoon. No wind gusts right now, so the winds have calmed quite a bit heading into this evening, but we can expect to see some very strong wind gusts return as we head into the rest of this week. And I'll show you that in your 7-day forecast. In terms of anything really to show you today, for the most part, it was just a little bit cloudy in parts of the province. We did see a little bit of sun peek through those clouds, but nothing in terms of active precipitation or active weather coming through. You're going to see that arrive as we head into tomorrow. So even heading into this evening, most of southern Saskatchewan, clear conditions, but there's a system coming from Alberta. You'll see it right there. And by tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon, late morning, we'll start to see part of it making its way in, mostly around the Lloydminster area, mostly in the form of snow and freezing rain and a little bit of rain. And by late afternoon, you can see a little bit more of that snow heading further into northern Saskatchewan, and mostly rain, Saskatoon, Swift Current, Maple Creek, Assiniboia. And then later into the day, late evening, early, you know what, whatever 7 o'clock would be for you. We're going to see more of this rain. Now, it looks like it could be heavier rainfall just because we are seeing the darker spots, but this system is quick moving. We're going to continue to see it linger through parts of northern Saskatchewan in the form of snow, and as the system continues to move, we will see that rain transition to snow for parts of Saskatoon, even into the Parkland, and even down into Regina. Early morning Thursday, we could see some scattered flurries. You could wake up to some light snow on the ground, and then the Parkland by Thursday evening could continue to see some scattered flurries as well. What can you expect when it comes to rainfall totals with that rain coming through? As of right now for southern Saskatchewan, anywhere between about 3 to maybe 7 millimeters of rain. The heavier rainfall, about 7 millimeters, is expected in the Regina area. By Friday morning, again, we could see some scattered flurries, light flurries in the Regina area. Yorkton could see some scattered rain showers as well Friday morning. But other than that, it's going to be just like another fall day with a little bit more of that snowfall now finally arriving. And as you can see in our forecast for tomorrow, many areas in the north, including the Losh, expecting to see a lot of that rain snow mix. 3 degrees is the expected daytime high, and then continuing to see more so the scattered showers. Larange, rain, and 7 degrees. 4 for Lloydminster with rain, 8 in Prince Albert and rain, 10 in rain in Saskatoon, 10 and mostly cloudy for Yorkton, 7 in rain for North Battleford, and then warmer temperatures in the southwest. Not really seeing that rain until later in the day. Same for the southeast. 12 for Weyburn and Estevan, and Assiniboia for Regina. -4 tonight. Tomorrow, 11, and the winds also picking up, gusting to about 55 kilometers an hour. In terms of our next 7 days, this is what we all want to know what we can expect. So again, rain and windy tomorrow. 11 is the expected high, cooling to 4 Thursday. By Friday, as I've already mentioned, cloudier conditions. 4 is the expected daytime high. By the time we get into the evening, like I said, around 6, we'll start to see those temperatures drop. 2 degrees, feeling closer to about 1 or even 0. So we will have a cooler evening for trick-or-treaters. And then as we continue on, we'll see those temperatures come back into the seasonal range. But we're not clear from these strong wind gusts. It's going to continue through the weekend, and by Monday, wind gusts up to about 70, and then the temperatures remaining back into that seasonal range. So a very windy couple of days, if not more, just couple of days, but very windy, and a cooler Halloween is expected. I know you've been asking, Lee.
Yep, got to hold on to those hats and any part of your costume, basically.
Just the hats. Hold on to the hats, and that's all you have to worry about.
All right. Thanks, Sabine.
Bye.
With Halloween approaching on Friday, houses in Regina and surrounding area showing off their creativity for the spooky season. Damian Smith shows us some of the more scarier spots.
A pair of Doodney East houses show off the Halloween spirit, ready to scare off.
Happy Halloween!
On Friday. For Angela Appleton, she and her husband have been covering this lawn for almost 20 years. The key is making it accessible for everyone.
They're able to come through either this side, through the middle, up through there, and because our neighbors are in it as well and do an amazing job decorating, we have it set up that they can go straight through between both of the yards.
That neighbor is Sean Hilborn, who runs Saskatchewan Haunt Finder, which locates Halloween lovers in the province.
We're great friends. We haunt together. We have fun. She travels through our yard on Halloween night. We go through hers. We've built a great relationship.
With about 30 artifacts, the walk up to the house can be menacing even during the daytime.
So a bunch of them are on sensors like that. Steve doesn't do anything. He just hangs out and guards the place.
Meanwhile, in Pilot Butte, one resident has created a maze, forming her own Halloween world.
We started out really small, just a driveway, but it kind of grew like an addiction.
Verte starts the design of the maze in late August and doesn't make the exit easy on visitors. With different creatures behind every corner, it can take up to 30 minutes to find the exit. This is the 8th year she's designed the maze.
I've got families in town that are now starting to make it part of their tradition, and birthday parties are coming through. But the best is when you get the good old type scream and then followed by the laughter 2 seconds after.
All 3 residents have said that they still have a few more tricks up their sleeve before Friday. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, the Jays and Dodgers went the distance in Game 3 of the World Series, with LA coming out on top after 18 innings.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
Well, it was disappointment for Blue Jay fans after last night's 6-hour, 39-minute marathon that gave the Dodgers a 2-1 World Series lead. It was, however, a match to remember. And before the Jays pick up their bats again tonight, which has happened, scoreless, by the way, we thought it'd be fun to play a numbers game. Adrian Gabriel is in Los Angeles keeping track.
High fly to center. Varsho back. Game over.
As Canadian Freddie Freeman put a pin in Game 3, Blue Jays fans in attendance in Los Angeles shared one common thought.
How are you feeling?
Tired. And with good reason. The 18-inning game that tied a Major League record for the longest in World Series history took 6 hours and 39 minutes to complete. 19 pitchers took to the mound for both the Jays and the Dodgers. Combined, they threw 609 pitches.
My heart has never beaten so fast.
Too many bases loaded and no runs. Too many innings, no runs.
While draining at times for fans and players, there were also moments of levity, including a 14th inning stretch.
And that's what's going on right now.
What will you remember most about being part of what is now tied as the longest World Series game in history?
For me, it's going to be the excitement, all of the energy that was coming from the players, but the fans as well. And
it was exciting, exhilarating, exhausting, and most of all, truly unifying.
Longest game in World Series history, whatever it is, tied for it. I mean, these guys are enjoying it. You know, they were in the right mindset and the right headspace the entire time.
This postseason is proving to be a marathon. The race is still far from over.
Going to be running on adrenaline tonight, but let's go, Jays, go.
The most significant statistic from last night's game may have come from Shohei Ohtani. 2 doubles, 2 home runs, becoming the first player in Major League Baseball postseason history to reach base 9 times in a single game. Now, the Jays are down, but they're not out. The sun is still shining here at Dodger Stadium. It's a new day at the ballpark. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Los Angeles.
Olympic gold medalist Cameron Rogers knows a thing or two about struggling. Before her rise to Olympic glory, Rogers and her mother experienced homelessness. As Brianne Foley explained, she's speaking out for the organization that gave her the comfort of home.
You made. Hey everyone. Before the glory of gold, Cameron Rogers knew the struggles of homelessness and poverty.
It was right before I started high school, so I would have been 13. But that whole year we were, either like sleeping in our cars, staying with friends' places. We even stayed at her work one night.
After a year of experiencing homelessness, Rogers and her mother moved into Dockside Village thanks to the More Than Just a Roof Foundation.
We got a call that we got in here. And I remember when we lived right in this unit here, and I remember when we came to look at it, and it was like amazing. We had this really cute 2-bedroom townhouse, and I'm like, wow, like this, it was game changing.
This is the place that we could start building our life back up.
More Than Just a Roof Foundation looks to give people like Sherry and Cameron a place to rebuild.
We're working to break those cycles of poverty and homelessness by providing real practical long-term solutions like food programming, education, mental and physical health support.
If it wasn't for Dockside, if it wasn't for MTR, I don't think I would be where I am.
Proving there is gold that can come from a helping hand and overcoming circumstance.
She is extremely hardworking, extremely resilient. Nothing stands in her way. And I think part of that probably came from our experience.
I think being able to then bring this and say, like, this is what all of that was for, this is what it earned, this is the everything that all of that support led to.
Brianne Foley, CTV News, Richmond.
Coming up, a reminder to clean up after yourself in Prince Albert National Park.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow. So naturally, as the system from Alberta, a low pressure system coming with precipitation makes its way from Alberta, we're going to see more of that rain and mix of rain, snow in western Saskatchewan. Not so much in the east because that won't happen until later in the day. So again, Meadow Lake could see a mix of rain and snow, 3 degrees, 5 with rain in Spiritwood and Lloydminster, 10 in rain in Watrous, 12 for Outlook with rain, 9 in rain for Kindersley. Meanwhile, Melfort 9 and cloudy, Hudson Bay 8 and mostly cloudy, Wynyard 10 and mostly cloudy. Hudson Bay actually, after that system is completely cleared, could see up to 10 millimeters of rain by Friday morning. So something to keep in mind there. Meanwhile, a little warmer in many parts of southern Saskatchewan, closer to the southern border. We're seeing double digits for many, but rain also for Pilot Butte and Lumsden at 11, 12 for Assiniboia with rain, 10 for Rosetown and rain. Expected there. Now, other than that, we're going to continue to see, like I said, tomorrow above average temperatures, warmer temperatures, but later in the day, many of these areas in southern Saskatchewan will see a mix of rain and snow comes through, particularly south central and southeastern Saskatchewan. If we take a closer look at Paradise Hill, located about 65 kilometers northeast of Lloydminster, 4 degrees tomorrow with rain, feeling more like 0.
Officials in Prince Albert National Park are alerting park users after 2 elk were found tangled in human materials this month. It's an issue they say can be easily avoided. Now, this is the first bulk elk spotted by a concerned visitor to the park on October 7th. The black netting was wrapped around the male elk's antlers. Park staff safely immobilized the elk and removed the net. Tom Barry, he is the resource conservation manager for the park, says it's concerning because if netting like this is not moved, it could prevent the animal from getting food or could get them tangled in branches and immobilize them, potentially causing death. Perry wants to remind people to think about what they are leaving out on their property because the park is a shared space with wildlife. Regina's Ukrainian community held an event on Sunday to commemorate a dark chapter in Canadian history. It was the internment of more than 8,000 immigrants during World War I, the majority of whom were Ukrainians and other Eastern Europeans. The people were deemed enemy aliens and held in work camps for the duration of the war.
Ukrainians had been invited to Canada, the land of freedom and the opportunities that awaited them here. And no sooner did they get here, and they were vilified as being enemy aliens, not because of anything they did, not because of any organization that they were attached to, but because of where they came from and their ethnic heritage.
Internment camps located across the country, including one in Saskatchewan, which was 7 kilometers west of Saskatoon. Take a look at stock markets, both on the way up. The TSX up 143 points, the Dow Jones by 161 points. As for that Canadian dollar, it went up almost 0.3 cents to 71.75 cents US. On the commodity front, gold up $30.08. West Texas Intermediate crude was down $1.16, while Western Canadian Select crude was down 12 cents. Right now in Regina, you can find gas for $1.30.9 per liter.
Cameco mines uranium, and with Brookfield Asset Management, it will work with Washington to build the large reactors. The U.S. will help arrange $80 billion worth of financing and handle approvals. The AI build-out demands an enormous amount of energy. The U.S., like Canada and others, is looking for ways to feed that demand. Cameco shares spiked more than 25% today on news of the agreement. Amazon confirmed today it's laying off 14,000 people, about 4% of its corporate staff. The big tech firm says it's using AI to become more efficient. In 2023, Amazon slashed 27,000 jobs across its retail, human resources, and cloud divisions. Apple became the third company to be valued at $4 trillion US. NVIDIA hit that milestone already. Microsoft has also hit the mark. Apple's latest iPhone is in high demand, pushing the stock up 9% since its debut in September. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, we've got Master Chef Canada, followed by the Traders Canada, High Potential Canada, and then the Big Bang Theory Canada, E-Talk Canada, and then your news, which is basically Canada. Babies usually stop crying for many reasons: food, maybe given toys, or changed. This baby, however, will stop for something specific.
You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money. And you're going to...
Okay, it's a foot rub for this passenger princess. Big Brother Bear knows exactly what to do when he sees that foot come towards him. They travel quite well together because my brother...
I could imagine that would be crazy, yeah.
Did you travel well with your siblings?
I was quiet, but no. I get bored pretty quickly, and
I can only imagine. Well, a newly discovered Dr. Seuss manuscript featuring The Cat in the Hat will be published next year.
Yeah, the book is titled Sing the 50 United States. It celebrates the U.S. and is set for release on June 2nd, 2026, just in time for America's 250th anniversary. The manuscript was discovered earlier this year at the Authors Library in California. It is the first full manuscript by Dr. Seuss to be found since 2015.
Do you have a favorite Dr. Seuss book?
I don't know. I read those in a car ride as well. So
did you?
To keep entertained. Yeah, I'd read those books.
I was very loud and annoying.
I'd do that too to my sister.
Yeah, see, that checks. That checks out. Thank you.